Welcome to Passport Mommy. I'm your host, Michelle Jerson. This show is for anyone raising little humans. We feature experts with tips and advice to enrich the lives of our children. Mom and dad entrepreneurs tell us their inspiring stories. Learn about products that could make both you and your child's life easier and more fun. And of course, fellow parents discuss and laugh about what's happening in their child's world. Motherhood is a journey. Thanks for joining me on mine. Welcome to Passport Mommy. I'm Michelle Jerson. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm really excited to have this next author on the show with me. His name is Kenny G. Down. He is the author of The Mirror, The Window, and the Wall, The Life-Changing Power of Finding Your True Self. And I know as a mom and as a woman, we are trying to find our true self. I feel like everybody at some point in their life is trying to find their true self. And we might go through struggles. We might question ourselves. We might question what we're doing with certain things. And so I am so happy to talk with you today, Kenny. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me, Michelle. I'm really happy to be on Passport Mommy and grateful to be here.
So tell me a little bit about The Mirror, the Window, and the Wall.
Well, The Mirror, the Window, and the Wall is my fourth book, Michelle. And it's a book that I came to this idea of what is it that really blocks us from finding our true self or from pursuing our heart's desire, which is really the place that I started with. That what really blocks us from pursuing those things in our life that are going to give us the most satisfaction, these things that are implanted within us that make us, that bring us to following what it is that's really going to bring us happiness and contentment in our life. And I came up with these three things: the mirror, the window, and the wall. And these are all metaphors for those things that block us in our life. The mirror is what we see when we look into the mirror. What is it that I see when I look in the mirror? And oftentimes that's not the truth or even near the truth. And when I'm looking in the mirror with a reflection I'm getting back, are those things maybe from childhood or from trauma of other kinds or from, dissatisfactory life, pursuing these things like drugs and alcohol and overeating and gambling and sex and all of these things that I call as self-harming behavior that we have, and all of these societal pressures that have never been greater. That has there been a time when there's so much pressure on us to be successful, to look a certain way, to wear the right clothes and drive the right car and live in the right house, be married to the right person, and all of these things so when we look in the mirror, what we see is this distorted view of ourselves. That is, I'm not living up to things. I'm a failure. I'm no good. I'm not going to ever succeed. This progress that I'm making in my life is going to be short term, and I'm going to end up losing everything. All of these crazy things that happen, but that's who a lot of us see in the mirror. And when we see that, then the next thing is this window. That the window is the way we want other people to view us. We hold this window up in front of us, and we try to control to the best of our ability that people only see through that window what we want them to see. And we're only going to open the window slightly enough to where they can hear what we want them to hear. And this is this stage character, the persona that we play when we're out in the world, that we're not being our true authentic self. We're playing a stage character, and many times we're playing a character that was assigned to us against our will. And that's the second thing. The third thing that I found that really blocks us off is what I call the wall. And when we're in this place of seeing what we see in the mirror, we don't want anybody else to see that, because if they did, they would ban us from the tribe, so to speak, or something like that. And so we put up this window trying to gain acceptance and control things. And it's exhausting. It's tiring. We get sick and weary, and we have all kinds of problems in our lives trying to control what other people think of us. And then we build up these walls. When those things stop working, we build up a wall, and we think it's other people that are laying the bricks, but really it's our own wrong thinking. And we build up these walls between us and people that we don't like, between us and our neighbors, or these great divides that we now have in our social environment and in politics and religion and other things. that we see. We have these great walls that are built up. And the other type of a wall is when we're one person at work and we're somebody else when we're in school with our kids. We're somebody else when we're with our friends, our girlfriends, or our guy friends, or we're a different person when we're with our spiritual buddies that are going to church and living a good life. We're one person there, but we're a totally different person somewhere else. And these are the walls. So that was the thing that I came up with when I wrote this book, was that I wanted to write about those three things that I've found that block not only myself, but many of the people that I've worked one-on-one with through the years.
So let me ask you this. So what is the first step to finding the true self if we're putting up these walls?
The first thing is to recognize in your own life that this is that this is what is going on. That's absolutely the first step that we can take on this path of setting ourselves free of these things. It's just to begin to look and to recognize this, to understand that I'm having dinner with somebody maybe, and I'm telling them all about these good things in my life in order to try to impress them, and to just have that realization, that moment that, oh, this is the window. I'm trying to control what this other person thinks of me, those kind of things. So one of the things I ask people to do, this is a little booklet, or people would call it a novella. It's a very short little entertaining story about a woman who has the mirror, the window in the wall, and how this finally brings her to this place of collapse. But I ask people to read this little short piece every day for a week, and then to do a little meditation on what it is you just read. In other words, contemplative meditation, or contemplate what it is you read and how it resonated with you. And then to write a paragraph or two, and to do that every day for a week. And when you do that, remarkable things happen, that you'll begin to see that I am doing this and I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm going to be free of this behavior. And rather than do this, I'm going to pursue my heart's desire, free of this negative self-condemnation that I see in the mirror, free of what I think other people think of me, and free of trying to compartmentalize everything in my life through building these walls.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I will tell you personally, right now, I'm going through something where I feel extremely torn. Even just something as simple as where to move. My parents, come move near us, let the grandkids be near us. And my gut telling me differently. My husband's working here, trying to figure out what is right, what is wrong. And sometimes we overanalyze and we keep trying to, figure out what is going to make everybody happy. And we lose sight of what is most important to us and what should we be doing.
That's such a great example, as these kinds of things within our own families. And what really gets us is what will other people think if I don't move and I don't do these things? What are people going to think of me, and how am I going to be judged, and how am I going to feel about myself? And then anybody that does question it, then we build up walls with those people. So
Right.
This is absolutely, that was just such a perfect analogy for these things that we run into every day. Everybody's going through these kinds of things these days.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So how can the application of spiritual principles help us find solutions to the problems in our lives?
Well, the application of spiritual principles for many of us, Michelle, is what I call the last friendly direction. And for a lot of us, there are people that just seek a spiritual way of life because it's desirable. And that's the life that I live today. I do that because it's a desirable way of life for me, but it wasn't that way always. That in the end, I was forced into that to become reasonable on doing some of these things, because everything else in my life was failing me. None of it was satisfactory.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I met a real severe collapse in my life 32 years ago that set me on this path. But the things that we can do prayer, meditation, social community, reading, spiritual material is one of I think one of the best tools that we can have is to just sit down with a book and read what somebody else's experience is and how that might apply, and start putting some of these principles into our lives.
Yeah. And as an
Spiritual
author,
community is important as well.
yeah, absolutely. Where can we find your book, The Mirror, the Window, and the Wall?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Ingram Spark, and anywhere that online retailer books are sold. Or you can go to my website, which is newthoughtlife.org.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you joining me today on Passport Mommy. I look forward to checking out your website and also the book as well. I think it's one we can all use, especially as moms. Again, Kenny's book is The Mirror, the Window, and the Wall, the life-changing power of finding your true self. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy. And don't forget, if you're listening to this on a podcast, we would love if you could leave a review. All you have to do is click a star rating. And the more reviews we have, the more other people will be able to find this content. And if you'd like to leave a comment, I would love to read each and every one of them. And you can always email me, michelle@passportmommy.com, if there's anything you'd like to talk about on this show. Are you doing a gift exchange with family members or coworkers this year? I have to tell you about Elfster. I just discovered this great Secret Santa app. You can create a free gift exchange to make gift giving easier so you can stress less during the holidays and get a jump on the holidays. Start planning now. And also kids can make wish lists to share with their grandparents and family members so you know what they want. And so when mom and dad start asking you, hey, what do your kids want? You know what to tell them. You just set the date and budget and Elfster takes care of the rest. They even draw the names for you. This is a great way to bring family and friends together no matter where they're located. And everyone makes a wish list so they get a gift that they really want. You can add gifts to your wish list from all the brands you love, including Nordstrom, Lululemon, Amazon, Etsy, Sephora, and so many more. So spend less and stress less since everyone only needs to buy one gift. Just go to elfster.com. That's ELFSTER.com. You're listening to Passport Mommy. I'm Michelle Jerson, and our next guest is editor-in-chief for simplemomsguide.com. Terra Wellington, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Michelle. I'm really enjoying this change in season, and I'm teaming up with a few brands. We're going to give you some wellness tips and ideas as we head into the holidays.
Awesome. And I love Simple Mom's Guide because it is a lifestyle site for busy moms. It gives us inspiration and how-tos for food and everyday healthy living. So let's talk about our health, because I know as a mom, I am crazed, especially this time of year. I'm tired. How can prioritizing sleep and comfort lead to better health?
So according to a recent survey, more than half of Americans say that stress or anxiety is a barrier to sleep. But you want to get at least 7 hours of sleep a night. It's important for your health and well-being. So 3 tips that you could look into is have the same bedtime and wake time every day, avoid looking at screens before you go to bed, and look into weighted blankets because they can help improve sleep quality through deep pressure therapy. This helps you to relax, fall asleep, and wake more well-rested. You can check out Tranquility. This is America's #1 selling weighted blanket brand. So this is a great holiday gift for someone on your list, especially if you're looking for that calming, good night's rest. The weighted blankets come in a range of weights and styles. They have the snuggly, soft Sherpa and a stylish, chunky knit. You can find them at Walmart, Target, and Sam's Club.
I love that. I am putting that on my list right now, and I never know what to tell people to get me. And I think that sounds great. Okay, so we talk about sleep. Why is self-care and recovery so important?
Yes. We want to make sure that we are taking care of our bodies, that we are helping our children and ourselves to stay healthy. One thing that we can do is try to get outdoors. It can also help with your health and mood, especially if you're doing something leisurely. It doesn't necessarily have to be goal-based. Also encourage your kids to eat a rainbow of produce for a healthy diet, but sometimes kids have nutritional gaps. So you can look into supplements, and one option to check out is the Cal Dinosaurs gummies supplements. They have their Cal Vitamin D Rex, which is a vitamin D supplement with tasty flavors like mango and strawberry. Vitamin D is for healthy bones and a strong immune system. And then their Sleeposaurus supplement has 1 milligram of melatonin. And scientific studies say that melatonin can help children fall asleep if they're having a hard time doing so. So you can go to the Vitamin Shop stores or vitaminshop.com for trusted lifelong wellness solutions.
Great. And when you talk about Vitamin Shop, I also think about cold and flu prevention, because I know I get a lot of my supplements there, like elderberry extract and different things to help me with cold and flu. But what are some other product ideas to help with cold and flu prevention?
I always lean on prevention, as you say. So look for ways to help yourself with healthier alternatives, for example, instead of, there's so many food temptations right now. So we don't want to overload our bodies with extra things that it has to worry about. So look for swap outs, taking a less healthy item for a healthier item. One example is the Mighty Sesame Company. They have this squeezable, convenient, ready to use bottles of tahini condiments. They have several varieties, including harissa, whole seed, and organic. So let's say you have something like ketchup or mustard. You could swap out tahini for this. And the great thing is that you get that extra boost of protein, fiber, iron, and vitamins because they're made of sesame seeds. You can put them on sandwiches, salads, or use it as a dip, and they make no mess, and they are plant-based as well.
Oh, that's great. I love that. And I love tahini. So just making prevention part of our everyday life, because you talked about prevention. I mean, besides packing the tahini snacks and doing all of that, what are some other things we can do?
Exercise is definitely high on the list. It helps to reduce your stress. It helps your overall body health. So sometimes though, during this time of the year, we're like, weight management, right? It's very real, but also there's a change in season. So first, change up your exercise to keep it interesting. Change it up seasonal for what is available seasonally for you right now. Also, devices can help you to be really motivated. So a new device that helps me be more intentional with my workout routine is the Sportneer Smart Scale. What this does is it helps to know your body better and understand where weight loss or gain is coming from. And this is because it uses sensors to capture your muscle mass, body fat, water weight, and more. You can use their app, you pair it with the scale, and then you can create this customized weight management plan. Like if you want to shed body fat or build muscle in a certain area of your body, and multiple people in your family can have their own records in the app as well.
That's really neat. I love that. And then you could have these family competitions and different ways to have contests against one another and keep track.
You definitely could. And as we move into the new year, that could be super fun, to see where we're at as everyone tries to reach their healthiest year yet.
Exactly. And I think these are great gifts, not just for your partner or your kids, but for your parents too, if you want to get them moving and to make sure that they're getting their exercise. Such great tips. Thank you so much, Terra Wellington. I appreciate you being here today. Where can we find all of this that you just talked about?
You can go to simplemomsguide.com. I have links to everything that I've talked about, as well as some additional tips for the season as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And you're also author of The Mom's Guide to Growing Your Family Green. Saving the Earth Begins at Home. I look forward to checking that out. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
So happy to have with me my next guest, Nadia Davis. She has written a beautiful memoir called Home is Within You. And it details her courageous journey towards wholeness and health as a woman, a mother, and former spouse co-parent in a powerful homage to finding one's truth and worth. And I don't know about you, but I have personally been going through a little bit of a difficult time lately, and it's really made me think about a lot, from marriage to where I live to the type of mother that I am. And it's really brought up a lot of emotion and a lot of just feelings within me that I have never experienced before in my life. And so when Nadia was brought to my attention, I thought, oh, I would love to have this woman on and just hear her story and hear about her life and what she's been through. Nadia, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So You are a young, high-profile attorney. You are a school board member in Southern California, county supervisor in the Bay Area. You've been the recipient of state and national public service awards and former wife of California's Attorney General and Treasurer. You've been a public figure in California for over 2 decades. Tell me what you have experienced in that time and what brought you to where you are today.
Thank you for that question. I was a little brown girl that wanted to save the world, inspired by my father who overcame so much, and my mom too. He was an immigrant from Germany. My father is Native American and Hispanic, an orphan field worker that became an attorney. I became an attorney following in his footsteps and, freed a wrongfully convicted kid, state and national awards. And all of that came crashing down, a decade later in treatment, jail, hospitalizations, suicide attempts, probation. And I didn't know how to walk through pain. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that if I did, I would then be able to identify what wasn't serving me. And, there was childhood and adult trauma, a lot of death in front of me and myself, a near-death car accident that took, a year to physically recover from, yet I didn't know all the other emotional and mental effects it had on me. Mm-hmm. And I didn't also know that I'm not a body, and that means nor my thoughts. And the work that I had to do to recover included a lot of trauma therapy, a lot of, going back to the beginning, mm-hmm. and understanding how 2 or 3 very specific things that happened really framed a canvas in me, like a blueprint of what I understood to be how this person relates with the rest of the world and with other people, that affected my attachment, and created a lot of solitude and aloneness. And I think everybody goes through that. And really through an initial process of understanding, what we really are from a spiritual standpoint, mm-hmm. that we're infinite spirits. We're not this body, and we're not our thoughts. Like that core learning, then I was able to really dive into other aspects of recovery, in the fellowship and chronic pain and other things. But, as a mother, the most important thing that I can teach my children, that I can use all the pain to do, is to teach them, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be mad and sad. You can be safe with me doing that, because I know that the behavior or, I know that my children are more than what I'm seeing and feeling right in front of me. And if we allow each other, that safe space, all the layers kind of are lifted. Right. And it gets down to like the truth in the middle, the truth between whatever's stimulating us to then respond. There's something right there in the middle.
Yeah. So let me ask you, you mentioned 2 things that happened in your childhood. You had childhood trauma. What type of trauma, and how did you work through that?
Mm-hmm. Throughout my life, I always returned to 2 different, very specific places. And I don't have a lot of memories as a child, but I do have like 2 different categories. And one is always returning to this position on this doctor's exam table. I was sexually molested by a doctor And my mother was told to leave the room because it would stop me from crying. At that time, it wasn't seen as abnormal.
Mm-hmm.
And I managed it in various different ways. You know, there was complete disassociation. There was hating myself for staying and not running out. There was trying to, you know, perfect not moving, so it would go by quickly. And a lot of things that I had to relive through trauma therapy and EMDR, most recently, actually 2.5, 3 years ago. And there was also a lot of racial bullying that kind of connected the two incidents together, where, you know, I have a birthmark. I was told, wash your face is dirty. Yeah, I forgot to wear my brownie uniform to school. And the kids said, you're already a brownie, you don't need one. And put a sticker in my lunch bag with a big, you know, black sheep on it saying, Baba Black Sheep, we don't want you hanging around us anymore. Now that instilled in me, you know, the advocate, the parts of me I love. Mm-hmm. And, you know, to save the world and help other people, you know, to have their autonomy and their rights respected. Yet it was a blueprint for how I related to the world. You know, we have a reptilian brain that has this survival instinct. And through that, everything became, not necessarily a threat, but something that was either going to hurt me, and caused me to be the saver, push people away, not acknowledge my own needs and ailments, and eventually severe lack of self-care and putting myself in harm's way, which led to addiction and other unhealthy things. And the fall, you know, allowed me to look at all of the pain in its face and begin the journey from there.
Sure. So for those who are struggling with mental health and addiction right now, and who are mothers also, who are trying to keep it together for their children, because, you know, you could put on a happy face for your children, but inside be just falling apart and every day holding this burden with you. How do you work through that? And how did you work through what was affecting your mental health?
Thank you for that question. I have a therapist and I also have a spiritual advisor, and you don't necessarily need that, but for me, I couldn't be vulnerable when you're in the system. We're not allowed space to be vulnerable because we are said, oh, look, she's falling apart, you know, and the fear is it's used against us. And so I had to find my own safe places to be vulnerable. And when I was in front of my children, I had to know that that was coming from a place of shame. That was coming from a place of hurt. And when my children, especially one incident in particular, one of my twin sons, Elijah, you know, was having an outburst, and I allowed myself, after trying everything, you know, I sat down and I put my hands in my head. I'll never forget this incident. And I whispered to myself, like, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. And in that moment, like, everything became silent. Mm-hmm. And I looked up and I said to him, Mommy's okay. You know, I'm just sad that Eli is sad and mad, but it's okay. He's sad and mad. It's okay. Do you need a hug? And he just fell into my arms. And my therapist asked me the next day, well, what did it trigger in you? And so then the work began with not projecting my own things onto my child.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I didn't want him to hurt. I didn't want him to hurt for knowing he hurt his brother. I didn't want him to hurt for not having his hurt acknowledged because the focus was on the behavior. I didn't want him to hurt like I did. The beauty of being a mother, I have an 18-year-old son and we have 6-year-old twin boys. They have the same father and we happily co-parent, separated.
Right.
And I knew just this overwhelming abundance of love to give, and blessings to give. And she said, hold on to that. Your mind is separating you from that truth, that one truth in you. Your mind is separating it with guilt and shame, with fear. And as soon as I tapped into that and was interacting and having structure and consequences with my children and ways for them to, I have feelings charts throughout my house.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw this confident, mom who knew my truth. Yes, there's my own issues and things, but when I can look them in the eye and confidently say, you need to stop hitting or else I will put you in a safety hold.
Right.
And it was dramatically different. And so that energy I was giving off through, our auras,
mm-hmm.
And then recognizing my own issues.
Right.
Then the source of it in all the character defects we identify in recovery, yet deeper at a more spiritual level, everything changed.
Yeah. And I firmly agree with you. I really think that the aura that we give off to our kids, and they pick up on us. They pick up on when we are anxious. They pick up when we are dealing with anxiety or whatever it is. And it really does affect them. And, I want to talk to you more because I think we have so much to talk about. And unfortunately, we're at the end of this segment, but I want to talk to you about, how you co-parent and how you got to that place and everything to just be the wonderful mother that you are. But in the meantime, thank you so much for being here. Where can we find Home Is Within You?
You can go to www.nadia-davis.com and there you will find pre-order links to the book. But I also offer Kundalini yoga, meditation, breathwork classes so that you can do this work that I'm speaking of for free. And it's breaking down the blocks to that truth and that home within you. And every chapter in the book is titled with the dear son and something. I could only write the book from the frame of mind as a mother, as though I was writing to my children. And so, if you can't afford it, let me know. This is a project to help other mothers, not only be true to themselves, but then thus be, a really authentic parent.
I love that. Thank you so much for all that you're doing, Nadia Davis. Thank you for putting yourself out there, and thank you for sharing it with other mothers who need to hear it. You're listening to Passport Mommy. I'm Michelle Jerson, and I'm so happy to have back on the show with me today, Crystal Pichon. She is the Chief Executive Officer at The Safety Place. The holidays, I feel like every segment we're talking about is holidays, and I'm so excited because there's so much to talk about. It's a very busy time of year. Many of us are traveling home for the holidays again, and the ever-growing popularity of online shopping, safety, security should be on the top of our minds because you have to keep in mind what's going on online when you're doing your shopping. So, Crystal, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. So you're here not only to talk about how to keep ourselves safe online, but how to look out for the safety of our children, which is most important. So tell me a little bit about yourself and why you have a passion for children's safety.
So it's simple. Our kids are magical. They're magical like Christmas. We love them. We want to see them well. And we have a responsibility as adults to help make sure that they're safe and happy and healthy as possible. But we are human. We have blind spots as adults. We can't be everywhere at once. We can't see everything. So it's so comforting to know that there are technologies out there that can kind of watch our backs if we have a blind spot, to make sure that we're always safe and that we're always as secure as possible.
Great. And a lot of people I know worry about internet safety during the holidays. Like I was saying, especially with the online shopping and all of the offers that are coming to our email and social sites. So what can we do to keep our family safe?
So the first thing that we have to do is do our due diligence. We have to do our research, do our homework, and make sure that we are shopping and putting our information into legit businesses, legit websites that are safe. Most businesses will have websites, but they'll also have a phone. So look at reviews, talk to other people who have shopped just to see what their experiences are. So that's the first thing that we have to do. But in our family, we enjoy utilizing the Cox Panoramic Wi-Fi app. It's quick and easy to download to your phone. Good and easy for all users, and it monitors our network 24/7. It lets us know if it's an unsafe website. It notifies us if there's some risky activity happening so that we can take action. And it's all customizable based on your family's needs, because my needs for security may be different than your needs from security. So the fact that we can customize it to fit our family is fantastic.
Yeah. And it also seems like kids are so connected to their devices. And the holidays are really about family time. So what can we do to just kind of unpeel them from their device?
So the kids are guilty, but us as adults are guilty too. There's not much that you can do in a day without using technology. Right. Our kids are connected for school. They're connected for play and video games and just surfing the web. And that's fine. Technology is great. It's something to be celebrated. But using technology on our phone, we can see what devices are connected to our network and how long they've been connected to our network. So if you look at the tablet and you see that the tablet's been connected to the network for 5 hours and you think that's enough time, you can pause that device. But remember, if you pause it and the internet goes down, it'll create a ruckus in the house and they will rush to you to figure out what is happening. So you have to be prepared for that, okay?
Right.
But when they rush to you, use that as an opportunity to say, surprise, we're having a family fun day. No devices, just us. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk. Let them know that you're a safe space and you're interested and that you're celebrating them using technology. But it's a dangerous place, and you want to make sure that they know how to use it safely and responsibly. That's all that matters. So take that time to disconnect so that we can connect like we did in the olden days.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that it just shuts the internet down, because it's so you don't have to pull it out of their hands and say, give it to me. And then that's a whole fight. So it's just, hey, Mom, it's not working anymore, which I love that. So we have about a minute left. Last year, a lot of us did not travel. We didn't have guests. How can technology help keep our homes and our packages safe so that they don't end up off of our doorsteps?
Traveling and socializing is back on this year, and I'm so excited about it. But we utilize our cameras that we have installed in the front of the house, and I am able to see when a package is delivered. Sometimes my delivery person will do a little dance and a little jig, because we all get excited about those packages being delivered, right?
Right.
And then utilizing home automation, I can unlock my door, disarm my alarm, have a trusted person put my packages inside my home, watch them come and go, lock my door, rearm my alarm, and rest assured that my packages in my home is safe and secure while I'm out enjoying my family, friends, and loved ones and celebrating the holidays. It's amazing how far technology has come, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, me too. So where can we go for more information?
You can visit cox.com for more information about their services and products. And if you're looking for more information on how to keep your kids safe, you can visit Safety Place LA on all social media platforms.
Terrific. Crystal Pichon, thank you so much again for joining me today. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy, and thank you for being a part of this show. And I'll talk to you next week.